time for the AFL Today Week 1 Finals preview. Marcus, what can they expect?
I'm expecting big things from this week's finals underdogs.
Well, I'm just stressing about my Hawks against GWS.
There you go. There's going to be plenty of laughs, plenty to follow. We're going to preview all the games. And, of course, we'll have a look at the Gary Ayres Medallist. Hello and welcome to AFL Today, brought to you by Stockhead. It's the first of our final shows. I'm Mick Wall, and I'm still here because stats guy himself, Liam McCallion, I believe his name is. I've been saying it wrong. I got it right. Only took me, 4 shows, but that's all right. Doesn't matter. This is what happens. You snooze, you lose. You go to Japan, people forget your name, Liam. I'm sorry. Joined as always, Marcus Bazzano, Leo Mullaly. How are we, boys?
I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now. I'm nervous, excited. Overall, just pumped for some finals football.
And if you aren't watching, if you aren't subscribed when you're watching, what are you doing? Because we're so close to 10K. We're at 9.94. So we want to hit that by the end of the week, and I'm sure we will. I have faith in you guys.
Yeah, great reminder. Make sure if you're watching this on YouTube that you're subscribing so you get all the notifications for new episodes. And follow us across social media so you don't miss anything on AFL Today. We're everywhere. The TikTok, on Facebook, Instagram, X, you name it, we're there. So make sure you're getting around us. All right, gentlemen, we have 4 huge games of footy from Thursday through to Saturday night. We are absolutely stacked, so we're going to get into us. Marcus, why don't you lead us off? We'll look at Adelaide, Collingwood. There's a little bit in this now. There's a little bit of spite in this one. It's Thursday night. It's at Adelaide Oval. The minor premiers taking on the team that were as short as a price as you could have imagined 6 weeks ago to be the minor premiers. And they recently played in a pretty spiteful affair. So this should be a cracker.
It should be. And what's better than talking about the game before the Thursday is actually watching it and watching it with us, because we're going to be doing a live stream watch along. So while we watch the game, you can watch it with us. You can have the game on, put that on mute if you don't like the commentary.
Listen to our
like
absolute drivel as well.
And listen to us talk. It'll be good fun. So join us, ask some questions. We'll be in there. So make sure you check us out Thursday nights on the YouTube. So we'll be live on YouTube.
Get around it.
But it's also a big occasion for Tex Walker as well, because it's his 300th game, and what a game to do it in. But the question I want to ask you boys is, where does he rank in terms of all-time Crows? I've got him. He's definitely in the top 5, because you got Rashudo
in the top 5.
Rashudo, McLeod, Modra,
Eddie Betts.
Yeah. I'd have him in the top 5. I'd probably have him above Eddie.
I've got McLeod number 1, and he's a clear 1, and I've got Rashudo as a clear 2. They're my top 2. There's been a lot of good footballers before him.
Modra not there.
No, but that's just my top 2.
Yeah.
Mods is in the discussion. Sean Wren's in the discussion. Mate, Mark Bickley was an incredibly good footballer, but there was some others that we saw the back end, the Adelaide guys, the Adelaide Brigade.
Sloan could be up there.
Yeah, I think that Tex, given his longevity, he was a key forward. I think that Tex is in there. I think it's tough, but I think I'd have to.
I reckon on the cusp for me for that top 5.
I'd probably go McLeod, Rashudo, and then be looking at Modra, Wren, and him. It'd be probably my 5.
Yeah, not bad.
Either way, we'll be hoping to have a big influence on it Thursday night. But let's talk about the matchup, though, because that's where it's really interesting. Collingwood have won 10 of the last 11, so they've had the wood over Adelaide. But Adelaide did win just a few weeks ago, like Wally mentioned, which I thought was a massive victory just for the mindset and the morale heading into this game. They don't want to have that stigma of the recent record going in 11 defeats in a row against Collingwood. So that was an important win, even if it was only by a few points. But Josh Worrell and Mark Keane were huge in that one. They were the top 2 Adelaide disposal getters down back in that game, because obviously Collingwood had a huge amount of the footy in the inside 50s. But boys, they got snubbed to the All-Australian. What are the selectors thinking?
I think that's 1-1. Worrell snubbed, should have been in the team. Keane happy. Keane was good like this year. He was good, but like when you look at the numbers around the keys they had in, who's he replacing? And that's the only way I look at it.
Do you reckon that they both sort of sneakily have a point to prove here, that they want to
maybe
go out and just really show the selectors?
There is that, but also, I mean, it's a home final.
Yeah. If you need that to roll you up.
In the words of Damien Hardwick, if you need to be inspired to play, if you need motivation to play your first ever final sort of thing, I think that there's a bit of that. Yeah, Josh Worrell was he was very
stiff.
stiff, very stiff.
Yep.
I thought he was fantastic this year.
Although, and all the previous meetings between these two sides have been really, really close. In fact, all the last 6 have been decided by 10 points or less.
That's nuts when you think about it.
Crazy.
I expect finals to be kicked off in the most perfect fashion, an absolute nail biter.
Can't wait.
But everyone's talking about how big of an impact Isaac Rankin's absence for the Crows will be. But I actually think it's Jeremy Howe's absence for Collingwood, which has the bigger factor in this game for their respective sides. Yep. And we saw that in the game where he did get, obviously Jeremy Howe got injured against Hawthorn, and he also missed the game against Adelaide, which was a big...
Yeah, he hasn't been playing full games.
He hasn't been playing full games recently, and I think that's a big area of concern for Collingwood.
It's that trick-on effect, right? Because if you're losing a key defender... If Darcy Moore has to play as a shutdown defender, it completely throws that defense out of balance. Like that is not his role. That's not where he plays well. He's not the All-Australian lockdown defender. He's an All-Australian,
float
across, rebound defender. So he plays a different role, and it changes everything. And they're obviously going to have to make changes. No doubt we'll talk about like Cox Watch and what they're going to do with him and what's happening. He's going to be playing, and then what happens? What do they do? How do they fill that backline space and try and enable more? And we spoke about on Footy Form Guide, like what Darcy Cameron does a great job in coming back and dropping in that hole in front of Darcy Moore. But the problem is that then you're not getting him for that next kick out. You can't help set up part of that structure. So it causes a lot of problems. I think the Howe shout is a great shout. I think that Rankin's he is more of the X factor, better player, all of that. I'm fine with all of that. But structurally, I think Howe is a bigger out. So I tend to agree with you.
And we'll go to positive team news on the front for either side. Max McElhaney and Lukey Pedler, fan favourite Lukey Pedler.
I don't think Pedler's going to get a run, mate.
Are possible returns, but Luke Pedler was in good form towards the back end before he unfortunately got injured. But McElhaney's that big improver to the side. And
Straight
again,
to Jamie Elliott.
And again, that allows the likes of Worrell and Miller just to float across and actually use their pace instead of being man on man. But Josh Rochelle did get ruled out by the Crows for this qualifying final. So
Right decision.
I think it's the right decision. Yeah, you don't
rush him back.
You got the double chances. No need to rush someone back and getting injured.
Yeah.
And on the Collingwood front, they did get a little bit of a scare for Jordan De Goey because he ended the home and away season against Melbourne in style. And you'd be hoping he'd be fit in running for the finals, but he did cop a scare at training after being tackled, but he should be fine to play. So,
are we worried at all about there was a little bit of pardon, but there was a bit of a whisper around Nick Dacos. There was a little bit in social media the last sort of 12, 24 hours that maybe he didn't look as good as he could at training. So I don't know. It's hard to buy into all of that. And we've seen, how many times have we heard Dacos is injured and then he comes out and has 30
It was in the opening round, wasn't it? Where he had the cramps or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So
I feel like in any sport, sometimes the best players in the league are the worst trainers.
Yeah.
There's a theme. There's a theme around that. So I wouldn't read too much into that. But Eddie Maguire did say on Footy Classified, you spoke about the Coxie change, Wally, that Dan McStay will be dropped for Mason Cox.
Yeah.
And that's a big statement.
So I think that you need all the tools you can get to bolster up that back line. We'll wait and see. McStay has been cold.
Yeah.
And so
but for someone who has fallen out of favour in Cox and a big statement to come back in.
They're expecting a 2018 prelim performance.
For sure. But an area I want to look out for is the Crows' big forwards. They Wally, you said like you don't need tall forwards or a number of tall forwards to win your premierships, but this could be an area of the game where because Collingwood have struggled against tall forwards recently, so this could be an area of the game where they do get off the leash a little bit.
Agree.
And I think there's going to be a big watch on that Darcy Cameron, Mason Cox versus Riley O'Brien battle because Cameron got on top a few weeks ago. Riley O'Brien only had the 6 disposals in that game. Where Adelaide did prevail, so ideally didn't have the impact on the result. But if they're getting first use from Cameron and he's dropping in those holes,
I would want to be seeing Cameron having 85% of CBAs. I would want him in the middle around the ball. Mason Cox should be played as a forward that can go into the ruck and help. Yeah, exactly right. That's all we should be seeing, like Riley Thilthorpe, Marbiel Chol, that sort of thing. I'm not even talking a Sam Darcy level. Like, he should be minimal time in the ruck because Darcy Cameron is one of the best rucks in the comp, and he has O'Brien covered. He just has him covered. We've seen it already. That would be a key there. Well, I know, and I've said it over and over and over and over. One thing I go back to is key forwards, as important as they are for structure and as important as they are throughout the year and how much we pay for them. They're often like not seen around grand finals, and they don't win the Norm Smiths. Gary Ablett's the only one ever. And small forwards, medium-sized forwards, mids going forward, they all win them. On top of that, as structure as important as it is, Melbourne won a flag with the Dunn, Ben Brown and Tom McDonald, and then Collingwood won with Mason Cox and Frampton essentially tagging Harris Andrews. So you don't need them. Yeah. Would you take them in? Of course you would. They're bloody brilliant. Yeah. Like, Thilthorpe's going to be one of
They're probably top of players.
He's going to be one of the top two key forwards in the comp for the next 10 years. Darcy Fogarty's an incredible number 2. And then you got Tex Walker that if they don't put attention into, he is going to get off the chain and kick goals. So they are set up really, really well. The only thing this week is there is no Rankin, there is no Rochelle. And Ben Keys is a mid forward. He's a big, small to medium forward.
Yep.
So it's just how they go without that genuine small forward at the feet that can break a game open. I think
fan favourite, Lukey Pedler, bring him back in.
So you need that. You need that in finals.
Not him.
I think it's going to be a cracker. What are you? Sorry,
Liam will be disappointed in you saying that.
I know, but he's not up to it.
We have talked about people who have been out of form, but let's talk about someone who I think can sort of rip this game open for Collingwood, because during finals time he's a big finals player, and that's Jack Crisp.
Yes.
And he was excellent when these sides met only a few weeks ago. 23 disposals, 13 tackles, and a goal, which I think is, I love goals from midfielders, and I think that's what wins your premierships.
Tough conditions too.
And I think he has the threat to break the game open again. But Adelaide are great at Adelaide Oval this season. They're 12-1 with the only loss at Adelaide Oval being in gather round against Geelong. So in saying that, if the Crows do go on and win this game, that will mean Isaac Rankin won't feature for the rest of the finals campaign.
Extend your Europe trip. Extend it.
You'd want to do it the short way.
I think that's it. And it's also, there's no sideshow then going on. Like, who knows what's going to you just want to move on from that and get stuck in. You go, this is what we've got to do. This is what we've got to deliver. We've got 2 weeks to get it right and go from there. Where are you guys landing? Give me your predictions.
I'm on Collingwood. I think 2 points. I just think Adelaide, it's a lot of their guys' first final. Collingwood, experienced side, oldest list in the comp. I think experience gets it done. They'll get a good early lead. Crom will push them late, and Pies will hold on like they do.
I think this is a game where I think it's almost going to be decided in the first quarter. If Collingwood can make the crowd really, really quiet, but I just think that crowd is such a huge factor. So I'm going to go the Crom by a few goals. But Wally, what do you like in this one?
So I actually, the game is, I think it's almost toss of the coin. The crowd and the ground dimensions, that all just lends to Adelaide.
So loud as well.
And it is so loud, and they bring their team back into it. I've seen it firsthand, and it's frustratingly good from them. Okay, I actually like, one thing I want to do here is Footy Form Guide, which I mentioned earlier, which is one of our other shows within the Sports Today network that I host with AFL expert Corey Harris, Harrow.
It's good for you to remember.
Yeah. I remember his name. That's important. We had a look at this game, and the area that we really like, and we're actually saying it's our best avenue, it's our best bet for the entire round, is actually the under 160.5 points. The last 5 matchups between these two have gone 115, 146, 152, 162, 117. More importantly than that, we saw what they were dealing with last match. Yes, I know the conditions weren't ideal, but we're talking about finals footy, which you can usually take on a large sample size, about a couple of goals less on average.
Yep.
We just don't see a world in which either of these teams are going to give a huge amount. So 160 feels like 80 points apiece. Like, it feels like in a low.
Feels right.
It feels right to have a go. So we're going to be under 160.5, and then it's toss of the coin. You could play one of those. You could play something around either team under 15 or something like that. But I genuinely think a low-scoring game is what I'm tipping in this.
I believe that these two sides are the best defensive teams in the competition as well.
Yeah,
so
that's the other thing. Adelaide especially, just absolute lockdown. They're fantastic. All right, let's get on to Friday. The good times keep rolling on Friday night. We have Geelong taking on Brisbane at the MCG. Well, question without notice here. We hear a lot of complaining every year, but let's be honest. If you had the option to play all your games at the MCG where the grand final was going to be played in front of 100,000 and more fans could get in, or playing your home finals down at the Cattery, which would you actually choose, do you think? Or which do you think they'd choose?
Cats fan?
No, let's pretend you're involved with the club and you play for them. Which one do you think is actually better for your finals campaign? Because I have a theory that if it push came to shove and they had to choose, they would actually choose the MCG.
Really?
Yeah. If the grand final's there, I think you got to pick.
I'd choose the Cattery for the qualifying, and then hopefully get the win there, and then play the prelim at the G.
Their own one. They tried it once, it didn't work. Well, I can't believe the debate. I went back through the annals of time to try and find all of these games they played there. 2013 was the only one.
Yeah.
It was the only time.
They lost to Fremantle, right?
Yeah, some very good pressure that day. But my point is, this is where you want to be playing. This is the big stage of finals. Geelong are better set than any team going into finals with injury, with the run-in. They can play all their games in Melbourne if they win this one. They will be playing all their games. They can go deep. It sets up brilliantly for them. So we need to hear both sides. Leo, kick us off, mate.
Well, it's the replay of last year's prelim, this one. What a game that one was, where the Lions came back in that sort of second half. They won by 10 points. It was that Cam Rayner goal that the stadium just looked to be rocking, where he put them up by about 12 points with a minute left. And it was awesome scenes. One of the games of the year.
It was the series of comebacks, wasn't it, for the Lions, that final series?
Yep, they really clutched up, didn't they? And it just feels like the winner of this one's in prime position. And I think we'll be saying on the Sunday show that the winner of this is the flag favourite.
Do you think the loser is the most likely to come back the other way?
Yep, 100%.
Yep.
And the loser of this game plays either Fremantle or Gold Coast, the winner of that game?
At their home ground.
Which you'd be very happy to.
Yeah. I would have no arguments.
Yeah, there, and then depending on what happens the other way, you're either getting Collingwood at the G or you're getting Adelaide at home. And I think that both will look and go, they're winnable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, this could be a grand final preview.
Yeah, and the Lions are underdogs in this one. They've won 80% of games as underdogs this season. So, they have a pretty good record there. They've won 9 of 12 games away this season as well. So, that also on top, there was a draw to North Melbourne.
Yeah.
They'll get Neil and Berry back, which is massive. And the Cats as well have the healthiest list in the game. Only one injury, and that's Conway, who doesn't even play. I want to look at the midfield matchups in this. I find this so fascinating. You've got Mullen, Atkins, and O'Connor for Geelong, who at different stages this year have played that tagging role. Marcus, I want you to play Cupid. I want you to play a bit of matchmaker. Who do you send Mullen to? Who do you send Atkins to? And who do you send O'Connor to?
Well, I'm currently single, so there's no good terms of matchmaking there. I don't know why you're asking me.
Yeah, but focus on yourself.
No, I'd probably do it for, obviously, Lockie Neal is coming back.
Yeah.
Because you've got the luxury of all those players. You have so many tags that can do a role. So, and there's so many players in that Brisbane midfield as well, but Lockie Neal has to be one. But I think the first one on the list that you'd go tag is probably Hugh McCluggage, because he's got his footy under his belt. He can hit you on the scoreboard as well as having 25 and 30, and he can escape it as well. We mentioned in the final round of the home and away season against Hawthorn, Brisbane that is, that Hawthorn should have tagged McCluggage, and they missed the trick by not doing so.
Yep.
And I think Geelong and Scott might just be that little bit smarter to go and put someone on him.
Definitely.
Neil and him always find a way to be productive, even if they get tagged.
Yeah.
Like Neil will break that tag.
And they got so many players. Like
they often
Barry
find
coming
help
back
from Dunkley as well.
Dunkley as well.
Yeah, Will Ashcroft.
But I think possibly down back as a forward sort of negating role. Yeah. You could possibly put Mullen on Zorko.
Okay, so we've got Mullen on Zorko. That's our first pairing. Who's on Neil?
Who's on Neil? You could put
Who's on Cam
you could put
Rayner? Who's on Bailey? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's insane the amount of players they have on every line.
Yeah, they have just so many match winners.
Yeah.
I know. Can you tag all of them?
You can
Just
try.
Can you tag everyone
Just
and win a
play
game?
one-on-one tags throughout the game.
Bring it back. Just one-on-one
This
footy.
this will be, because Chris Scott's an incredible coach and he has put on masterclass after masterclass. This is going to be a tactical dream to watch. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. And I think all three of those Cats taggers, they have a massive role to play in actually stifling how scary that Brisbane midfield is.
It's so good.
But not only that, like if they can actually quell Neil and McCluggage and Rayner and these guys, then you're freeing up Baz and Holmes to do their own thing. Because Brisbane, conversely, they've got Dunkley, who can play that run with role.
Who are you sending him to?
I don't think either. I think Dunkley in open space will get run to the ground a little bit with Baz and Holmes' running capacity. I think you just back Dunkley in the stoppages.
Be happy to let, I reckon in finals footy, you'd be happy to let Baz Lanker go.
Yeah.
And just, if he damages us, he damages us. But
Yeah.
I'd be putting time into Holmes.
Throwback to Baz Lanker at the Gabba for the Dogs when he iced in the veins, big moments. Finals
Jeez,
player, he
yeah.
can get it done.
He can get it done. So maybe they're a bit...
Especially against the
stunned by
Lions.
that. I want to move to the forward and defensive matchups now. So, look, my take is Andrews will go to Shannon Neal, just two bigger bodies.
Yep.
So we've got Gardner or Lester on Jeremy Cameron, a bit more mobile. Don't mind that matchup for Jezza if he can get up the ground a bit. I think Neal has a massive role here, though. He's got to actually occupy Andrews, keep him away from the dangerous space, stop his intercepting ability, and actually like getting out in front of the space that Cameron wants to use.
So this is almost like a Frampton role
Pretty
played
much.
in the grand final.
I would say Neal's a better player.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that's the role you want him to play. You almost want him to be, let's just draw Harris Andrews as far away from Jeremy Cameron as possible.
Yeah.
We'll just lead to opposite pockets pretty much.
Lead to opposite, get out of each other's way. And then if you look at the other end of the ground, it was Logan Morris last time these guys played. He kicked 5 goals down at the Cattery, and the Lions' ball movement was very easy in that game. They got through the corridor really quickly. They were clean. So he was able to get out the back a lot, and he was catching Henry and Stewart out quite often. If I had a look back at the goals he was kicking. So do you stick with that matchup, or do you look at someone like a De Koning who can be a bit more defensively minded and have Henry and Stewart come off a bit? Or is it just the pressure up the field? What do we think?
You just put young kid on young kid. You put O'Sullivan on.
O'Sullivan.
Although I don't mind.
That's an exciting matchup if that
It is because I think they're
happens.
both great. It has to be O'Sullivan or SDK
They're
for me
both
because
athletic.
aerially they're the ones that can match with Morris. Like Henry's great in the air, and Stewart, I think he just needs to be that floating sort of
Has to be,
intercept.
definitely.
So I really like O'Sullivan versus Morris. Let's do it.
O'Sullivan in a big final.
Yeah.
That
Get it done.
There's matchups
Yeah, I
everywhere.
know. The
love
other
this.
way you got to look at this though, if you've got faith in the kid and you pick him for a final, he has to be able to play on anyone.
Yep.
Yeah,
Agreed.
That's the whole
absolutely.
thing, and I don't disagree with that. I don't mind that. I can see a world in which Harris Andrews goes to Jezza at some point. And they just go, let's just put the best key
Best of the
defender in the
best.
competition on him, or one of the best two, him and Taylor. Let's just put him on him because because if he gets off the chain, you need to make that move very, very quickly.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting one to watch because if they do make that move, then all of a sudden you've got Shannon Neal who he can outbody Gardner and Lester with ease.
I don't think anyone's expecting them to absolutely shut them down. I think that the way they win this game is just winning the ball through the midfield.
Yep.
And as efficient as Geelong might be on their inside 50s, on those entries, it's reducing those down so they're getting so much more of the ball in their own half. And I think that that's their key to winning. I don't think you're going to kind of completely be able to stop Cameron and Neil. And then the other players at their feet, like then you've got a player like Sean Manor, mate. Tell me he's not built for finals.
Yeah, not wrong.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very, very, very interesting matchup.
Absolutely. And I just want to end with a couple of big questions, one for either side. On Geelong, now we mentioned on the Round 24 Wrap show that their run into finals could have been a bit light, a bit easy, and obviously they can't do anything to help that. They've got to beat the teams in front of them.
Bailey Smith said it himself.
Bailey Smith said it. I think even Chris Scott said it at some stage. But do we think they're going into a final series that they are primed for this? Are they primed for the pressure that's going to hit them? Or are they going to be just a little bit off the pace?
I think they'll be fine.
You think they'll be fine?
Geelong are that side. They have so much experience in finals footy. Chris Scott has so much experience in finals footy. There's no way they don't get up for this game.
No, it's a good
Yeah,
call.
I think they'll get up for it. I think they'll be fine. I just think Brisbane's the best team in it.
Yep.
And Brisbane get up to another. Brisbane find another level when it matters.
They need to,
They honestly, they must have just been there at the Gabba or travelling against Melbourne or travelling down to Tassie to play North Melbourne and just going, do
What's
we
the
really
point?
have to? What do we do? Can we just start finals, please? Can we get to September? You can just tell they've been up for so many years that they need that challenge.
Yeah.
And I will say this, the team they're taking this year looks like a better team than last year.
And they still have many players on the injury list
Yeah,
that could
it looks
easily
better.
come back in.
And plenty of players next season who look to be coming in.
The
as well.
improvement in McCluggage, in Bailey,
Rayner.
just the absolute versatility of Rayner. Morris is essentially another Joe, but may not be as
Inefficient.
yeah, or yeah. I'm trying to think of the right word there. We'll go with inefficient. but
Clunky.
yeah, it's just unpredictable.
Yeah.
And so you look at all of it, and Harris Andrews has lost nothing, and Leicester's improved, and all of those things. So it's
So
very.
the other 7 teams should just not even.
no, it's not that. I just think if this is a game where if I had to, it's a flip of the coin,
Yeah,
right? But if you had
it
to
is.
pick one, I would rather be on Brisbane
Yeah.
than Geelong. But I that's why I asked about coming back the other way. I think they're going to meet in the grand final.
Yeah, I think
I
so
think
too.
these are our grand finalists.
Yeah, and just one quick one on Brisbane. They've kicked 11-23 against the Hawks, 12-14 against the Dogs, 13-18 against the Giants. I just think if they lose this and they are inaccurate, I think it's just one we raise in the wrap show and be like, look, this is the only thing that's going to stop them from the flag is themselves.
But if they won those games,
They lost to GWS.
they won the other
West.
two, right?
Yes.
So they're still, in terms of that, I know they have been inaccurate, but they.
It hasn't been an issue yet.
No.
I just, and if we
I know
look
what
back
you're
to last season, they kicked 11-21 in the last round. And then in finals, they did enough to even that up. There were a lot of 15 goals, 14 behinds.
That's it.
And they came from behind, 3 weeks in a row to get it done.
Yep.
So I want to just have a little bit of a watch. And if the inaccuracy could maybe cost them. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I need your tips.
Oh, I'm going Lions by a goal. This will be the best game
Nice.
of the round.
Well, I think so. It might play a part, and I think, Geelong's just nous in finals, but obviously Brisbane have some nous as well. But I think just for entertainment's sake, I'm going to go Geelong by 2 points.
Don't mind it. What do you like, Wally, in this one?
I'm almost wanting to tip a draw here because I just think they're both going about
Extra time.
I will say Lions in the closest of close ones, but Geelong will meet them again in the grand final.
Yep, I actually agree with that.
Yeah.
Lads, do you know what the ASX means?
Mate, of course. And in fact, I'll let Marcus explain.
Don't throw me under the bus, Leo. Be honest, I have no clue.
Oh, what a surprise. It's actually the Australian Securities Exchange.
I'll speak for Marcus on that one and say I'm pretty clueless with that stuff.
Well, lucky for you, Stockhead is a free website which gives you punting stock advice through the ASX.
Where can we check them out?
Check them out via stockhead.com.au.
Right, Saturday it is. Ooh.
Oh, boy.
I'll let you have a breather for a bit and we'll go to Marcus on this one because this is relatively stressful. Hawthorn taking on GWS. Obviously, this is a really interesting one because both teams' ceilings have been really, really strong this year, but both have had those little troughs which have been atrocious. And I'd say their good to bad gap is about as big as any team in the finals. I think this year, for the first time ever, apart from Adelaide, I think everyone else's good to bad gap is it's actually pretty big.
Yeah.
Marcus, let's run through this, mate.
Yeah, look, I'll take care of this one to provide some.
I'm
some
just stressing out.
Unbiased view, yeah.
An unbiased view with the two.
Wait, I'm
Hawthorn-
biased. He's been going on about GWS for the last 3 months.
The two Hawthorn fans sitting next to me. But again, this is another one which has provided some great recent contests.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has.
With the last 5 meetings all being decided by a couple kicks or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're typically both teams that love to hit the scoreboard heavily. They're just, let's try and outscore the opposition rather than restrict them. And I want to start with some team chat for this one because it is pretty tasty and what looks to be a great Saturday Arvo clash. And it's the Giants who will have a host of changes coming into the side. Hogan, Stringer, and Kelly all but confirmed to come back into the side. So that's a reigning Coleman medalist. Stringer, who's an absolute barometer.
Found form.
And found some form. And Kelly is a great experienced midfielder, along with
Which they
Cornelio
need.
as well, who is back from concussion protocols. But it looks like Buckley, well, for your sake, Leo and Wally, Buckley and Daniels are unlikely to come back in the side. Daniels failed to get through training on Tuesday.
So what's happened there? Because Daniels on Tuesday was listed as completely off the injury list.
Well, he played
and will
VFL
be returning.
last
Played
game,
VFL, had
yeah.
nearly 30 disposals,
Yeah.
right? So is it official that he is now out?
It's not official, but it is unlikely. It's not a good look to
Not get through
No,
training.
I agree with
get
that.
through
And Buckley's still listed as a test. Is and again the initial reports were should be playing or
Yeah.
pushing to play.
Yeah.
Has he had another setback? Has he or?
Well, it's just whether you risk it for a one-off game. Do you risk him for the rest of the final series if you don't get through this one?
It's an elimination final.
You play
You're
what's ahead of
probably
you.
playing against four tools. You 1,000% play him.
Yep. I
Like
agree.
you don't risk when you have a second chance. It's an elimination game. You just have to. Because what if, if he goes down, you have a sub for that reason.
Yep.
And it's not ideal, but I don't know. I think he's too good to not risk.
Yep. Especially.
And if you're, unless it's a lot worse than we're being told.
Yep. Agreed.
So they're going to have four.
That was
up
the four.
to
The four
six,
were confirmed, but it
and
could
then
be up to
six, which is a quarter of the team. That's an insane amount
Is
of
it a
changes.
good thing or a bad thing?
That's what I'm saying. Is it a gift or a curse with a few of those boys? They're not playing a lot of footy in a while. Just throwing them back in, and is their sharpness going to be there? Is their match fitness going
It's
to be there?
unfortunately you don't have a choice. Like they're
Yeah,
so
you
good,
have to do it.
play
You have to
them.
do it, obviously. But it's
Yeah.
just
I
it
don't
is a
know.
good point because you look at it on the surface as a Hawks fan, I'm going, crap. Like we got to deal with now Hogan and Stringer and these guys. But then they might.
Kelly and Cornelio are not young anymore. Like,
No, they're
so
not. They're
them
not.
coming back in first up, you can look at that two ways. You go, oh, well, they're experienced, they'll be fine. Or you can go, well, hang on. Are they really ready?
Are they going to be
Are
up
they
to the
right?
pace of it?
The legs, the pace in a finals like encounter with some injuries. But there's also some injury news and maybe a returning face in defence for the Hawks with
Yep.
Josh Weddle. That would be huge because he played limited minutes in the VFL qualifying final. Defeat last weekend against Southport. So would you, as Hawthorn fans, chuck him straight in because he's got
Elimination
that
final, he goes
versatility?
in.
He could play on. He could play
goes
on
in.
Hogan. He could play on Stringer. He could play on Daniels. He could play on anyone he likes.
He goes in.
Sub?
No, you play him. If you're going to play him, you play him. And then you use the sub the other way. I think they will play him. He got through okay. Like we got to throw something at this.
Yep.
They've got to look at this and go, okay, let's have a crack here. The only thing is who makes way because I don't think it should be Scrimshaw, who's the like for like.
In
it's
saying
tough,
that,
isn't it?
could it be one of the tools?
Yeah,
for
Mitch
Hawthorn, and-
Lewis, who didn't get through
Yeah.
and looked a little properly, even though we've had another week and hasn't really come back as strong as we'd like. And there is such a bigger piece for him in the future. I would think that Mitch Lewis would be the one that makes way.
So
But that
you-
being said, they need another midfielder in there. You've got to play Cam McKenzie or Harry Morrison's got to come back. So
would you go with? I assume you're going with the three tools then, Wally. Would you go 3 or 4? Stick with the 4, Leo.
I think 3. I think Lewis has to make way. And you mentioned McKenzie or Morrison.
One of them has to
I'd
come
like
in.
to see Morrison if he's fit. I think he was a
Yep.
test on the injury list. I'd like to see Sam Butler come in.
well,
I
there
just
could be
think
changes.
what he offers, he's not like a household name or anything, but he's a strong tackler. And I reckon his role potentially across half forward on a Whitfield or an Ash, I think that could be a sneaky good matchup
So-
for us.
GWS, the area of the ground that they're giving the ball up and allowing disposal and usage to is that half forward that comes up and spends time up further up the ground. So a Jack Ginnivan, for example, or what could be a
Dylan Moore as well.
Dylan Moore's the one that I think if they don't bring in McKenzie or Morrison, Dylan Moore, his CBAs will be right up and he'll spend more time in the midfield, which
Yep.
would be great. So there's a lot of angles to look at from the Hawthorn side there. And there's a lot of uncertainty. The good thing for GWS, though, you're saying, is it a blessing or a curse? The whole thing is that they go, we know what we're doing. We know which players we want. We know what our 22 or 23 looks like. We just need to get them in. So it's a little bit different with going, oh, who do you drop? What do you do? This is going to change the structure of what we've been playing. So this is going to be an absolute humdinger of a game.
Yeah, but if you think those Hawks small forwards are going to limit the impact of Ash and Whitfield, then that could be a game changer.
Yeah, I think that honestly, the battle between the Hawks small forwards and the Giants small defenders like Whitfield and Ash, I think that's how this game will be decided. Who wins that battle, in my opinion?
Yep.
Because the Hawks smalls, while they're obviously good in their own right, they don't hold a lot of accountability to those halfbacks.
No.
And like you mentioned, Whitfield and Ash let that half forward go up because they can win the ball back themselves.
Yep.
So whoever is more impactful in that area, I think will win the game. And that's why I just reckon, put my Hawks bias hat on. I want Sam Butler in. I want him to go to Whitfield and put some pressure on him and show some accountability.
Their scoring from their defensive 50 is like so far above AFL average.
Well, these
and
teams
when
are
it
very
drops
similar.
down, yeah, exactly. And when it drops down, they just do not win anywhere near the same amount of games.
Yep.
They're scoring at 7 to 8 goals, like a game, which is huge from rebounding of defensive 50, which is like 2 or 3 goals above the average, I think. So if they're doing that and they're doing over that makes it really, really hard to beat them. So if we can restrict that, they're just not going to win at the same rate. So
I reckon they'll be saying the exact same thing.
well, 100% they will. They're far smarter than we are. And like that's the thing. But whatever we do, whatever we see Sam Mitchell do, I just like to think will be the right decision. Because he knows better than anyone.
And you did mention that 2 or 3 goal swing above the average for GWS, and that I did mention before, that has been the margin between these two sides in previous meetings. But we'll move on to GWS now, and look, they went out in straight sets in the previous final series in damning circumstances because they lost when leading. They choked against both of last year's grand finalists in Sydney and Brisbane. So does that mean, maybe if they do lose, Hawthorn this year's grand final?
Oh, I'd love to think so.
Well, the thing with GWS for me is we're all waiting and for it just to all click in one finals campaign. They've had the list. I think they've got the coach. They have the star power. They're good on every line. One of the best key forwards, best key defender in the comp, an elite midfield.
So much experience.
Match winners on both ends of the ground, like an X factor like Stringer, but you've also got Toby Green. Let's not forget about Toby Green. All of these things, but they just seem to find one better, whether it's getting pumped in the 19 grand final where they fell in or losing to the Dogs in 16. They're not all there, but there's players that have still been through all of this for the last 10 years. The Collingwood lost by a point, losing a 7-goal lead to the Lions, like all of these things that just they find a way to get knocked out. If they can put it all together, this genuinely could be the year. I think the winner of this game can make a deep, deep finals run. I genuinely do.
In GWS, you look at it, they got probably the best spine in the competition with Taylor, Tom Green, Jesse Hogan. That's a pretty good, back mid forward sort of spine that they got there. And history does suggest that playing at home between these two sides suggests that playing at home will give them a great chance at winning this game. 14 of the 17 meetings between these two sides in history have been won by the home side. So that's only 2 away wins and 1 draw in there as the other 3 results. And the Hawks record at NG Stadium, as you boys will know, it's 0-8. The Hawks haven't won at NG Stadium.
So you're saying we're due?
Well, you can be due, or does the trend continue? It's like on roulette. Do you keep going? If it's going red every time, do you change it to black?
It is a weird one with these two because they've played a lot of footy they've played in Canberra, they've played in Tassie, they've
Gather
played
round
in
a couple of years ago.
Yeah, gather round. There's been a little bit of, it's a little bit murky. The other thing is that we're going back a fair way. So have they even played at this ground under Sam Mitchell? I don't know if they have.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, is that we're talking about a completely different team here. So I would suggest that all of that's good, but the bigger thing for me is just going, can Hawthorn stop that defensive rebound run? And how do you negate a midfield battle that you're probably going to lose? Because the bottom line is GWS's midfield is stronger than Hawthorn's midfield. I think 7 other finals teams have a stronger midfield. We agree with that?
Yeah.
They do. Okay, it is what it is.
In other words, every other finals.
But the back line, your forward 6 and your back 6 are very, very strong. They're elite.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you try and be super efficient in your forward 50 and score as many opportunities as you get, and then hold the ball in as much as you can? And how do you try and restrict defensively and go, we know we're going to lose the clearances. We know we're going to lose the ball through the midfield. So we're going to bolster both ends, and they can play ping pong through the middle, and that's fine. But when you get it in our defensive 50, we're going to lock it down. And when we get it into our forward 50, then we're going to lock it down even more, and you're not going to be able to get it out until we score. And it's being able to do that, whereas GWS will go, okay, what we need to do is make sure we take advantage of forwards, this forward line of Hawthorns that doesn't usually restrict the rebound, and we're using our ball really well through that midfield, and we're scoring from stoppage as much as possible. So it's going to be a fascinating battle, but I guess the only thing left to do is ask the question, gentlemen.
Yeah, who wins the game?
Who wins?
I'm going Hawthorn. I don't like it. Hawthorn by 3.
I'm going to go the Giants by 4 goals purely because Hawks.
You love GWS.
I love GWS,
goals.
but the Hawks in the state record hasn't been convincing for me this season. The only win was against Sydney in opening round was their last interstate win. If you exclude Tasmania, but obviously you probably count those as home games.
If they win, are you bringing out the
all 5
Morsuit?
in the state. The orange morsuit. Should we do it, Wally? You're going to be all on GWS. Let's get it done.
I'll need a week to get over the loss, and then we'll talk about it. But the thing is that I do like the Giants. My tip here is that the winner's going to make a run.
And put your neck on the line. Who is that?
Hawthorn.
Hawthorn. He's got it done. That's what I'm saying. I've got to bring the normality into this one.
Oh, no.
Hold on. All right. Fremantle v Gold Coast.
Here we go.
This, for mine, is probably the one game that I found the easiest to find a winner. I don't say a winner, but to side with who I think will win, because we don't know if they will yet. Optus Stadium, Saturday night. Freo couldn't have been more impressive against Western Bulldogs. I've said a few times this week, that and last week. That second quarter and the pressure they played may have been the best quarter of footy we've seen played this year. They were incredible. Against the Dogs, they did that on the road. They get a home crowd, which would be really, really intimidating and confronting, which is fantastic. It will be loud. And tell you what, they're going to be very, very hard to beat.
I think this is going to be a fun game, to be honest. You got Gold Coast, first final. They've done it. They've made it. And you've got the fresh young Flagmantle crew who are new additions as well. They missed out last year. I think the first question off the top, will the pressure get to the Suns in this one? Will they be a little bit, I don't get nervous, but start to get a little bit shaky.
As Dimmer says, you're in the wrong industry if you're not up for the organisation's first finals campaign in history, so they'll be fine. I think they'll be up for it.
Do you reckon they'll be in it at quarter time?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I reckon Freo jump them, and I reckon it could be a 4-5 goal lead at quarter time.
Wow.
I think if Freo jump them, there is no coming back. This will not be Freo. Well, all right, let's talk a couple of things. Let me ask you about the midfield battle here. So you're going to have a midfield battle of Sarong, Brayshaw, young Bolton, who is a proven finals performer in a match where there is not a lot of finals experience.
He was great in the first half against the Dogs.
He is a great finals performer. That is going to be up against one of the best midfields in the competition also, which is Anderson, Rao, Miller, who does have some finals experience, but he's a very experienced player.
Yep.
And you can play a Humphrey through there and things like that, even though they've been doing a lot less of that. So which midfield are you taking?
I'm taking Gold Coast midfield.
I'm taking Freo's midfield.
There you go.
It is a great battle. I think they're very similar midfields when you look at it. You got Sarong and Brayshaw, the defensive mids, win the ball. That's Rowell and Anderson. You've got Bolton who can play the forward role, come in for X Factor. That's Humphrey. And then you got Young and Tukey in there who both had a bit of class, a bit of, they can hit the scoreboard, 20, 25 disposals. They're very similar midfields. I think it's going to be great to watch.
They are very similar midfields, but I just like the goals from Gold Coast this season. Took Miller, we've talked about it all year, lifted in that area of the game. The thing is with Anderson and Rao versus Brayshaw and Sarong, I feel like it's more likely if either pair are going to have, 30 or 40 and 2 goals, it'll be the Gold Coast pair rather than the Fremantle pair.
Even away from home?
I think they got more goals than them.
Okay.
This is the thing. I think Anderson and Rao are a better duo than Sarong and Brayshaw. And the reason I say that is I think that I'm taking Anderson out of the 4 of them. I'm taking Anderson out of anyone in these 2 teams. I really, really rate him so highly. Rao is like top 2 in the league for clearances and tackles. He's a beast on both sides of the
You get the
balls.
yin and yang.
He's added a level of creativity and just some variety to his game that didn't exist. It used to look a lot harder for him to get disposal. He had that real every disposal looked like a lot of work. That is not the case anymore.
Is he now a top 10 player in the competition?
Oh, he's very, very close if he isn't. He's very, very close. Noah Anderson is. He's definitely in top 10. So I think that the swing for me, though, is if you have Hayden Young and Bolton both firing, you have 2 players that can go forward and kick multiple goals or run through the midfield all day.
Yep.
So they can just alternate. So you go, we've got a forward with 60-40, probably 60 Young, 40. You can just run through and then the others will have 85% CBAs and they'll have short rests. So you can operate those 4 together through that midfield, but also forward of the ball, what you have is you have a dangerous goal kicker that could kick 2 or 3 goals in a final in your forward line. For me, that's where I swing to Freo.
Yeah.
But mate, it's much of a much. It's going to be a cracking game. The other good thing is that the Fremantle defenders, and we're talking about multiple Australian defenders in this team, against that exciting Gold Coast forward line, that sets up as a great matchup too. And then where you have the Freo and the Gold Coast back lines, in terms of the key matchups, there's been a little bit of inconsistency with those. Like Mac Andrew can put in a great game and then maybe go missing in another. It's the same with Tracy and with Amos and that. So I think that that's really exciting. And then both teams have players that can rebound the ball and get run through that back half. So it just sets up absolutely beautifully.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great game.
You mentioned the Freo back line, and they did a great job against Darcy and Norton against the Dogs in that last round, but it is a very different looking forward line for the Suns. They obviously have King and Reid, and do you think that this pairing can do a bit of damage, Marcus, in finals? Ben King and Ethan Reid, first final.
There's been a lot talked about it. I definitely have the faith in Ben King. Obviously, Ethan Reid's a little bit inexperienced, so you take the foot off the pedal a little bit, but Alex Pearce is a player who didn't play when these sides previously met this season.
Yep.
And I think King ended up with 1 goal. Ethan Reid finished with 2.
No, I think Walter played and got 2.
Walter played and got 2. So, look, I just think that King-Pearce matchup is going to be so tasty.
It's going to be good to watch. But it is more the mid-sized guys for Gold Coast. You got Long, who made the All-Australian squad. Farah's been good since he's come in, 9 goals in 6 games. They pose a big scoring threat. So
Ainsworth can be dangerous down there as well. There is a lot of other options.
It's sort of those unknown guys for Freo, like Heath Chapman, Bailey Banfield, that'll have to step up and play really important roles to quell those guys. And then I've got some big questions here. You also touched on the Freo forwards, Wally.
Yeah.
You got Tracy, Amos, Voss. They all kicked 3 against the Dogs. They were superb. Which player here, out of those 3, do we think can tear finals apart? I've got my answer.
Yeah, I've got these at 3 varying levels. One I would have the one I think can tear finals apart consistently and just really have a good campaign is Tracy. I think the X factor is Voss, and he can have moments. And I think Amos is the worry. They're my 3.
I completely agree. What do you think?
I'm going to go with Voss. Obviously, I do think Tracy is the better player, obviously. But Voss, he just looks like he's built for those moments. And if you give him an opportunity or a sniff to create one of those moments, he's going to take it 9 out of 10 times, which we have seen already so far.
The energy he brings as well is important. Yeah. It's really, really important.
And just when you think he's knocked down, he got beaten a peg, he would kick a goal a few minutes later, like he did against Port Adelaide. And he's got the moments against Fremantle, which you only have to look back 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's built for this.
He's a moments player, isn't he? Now, Marcus, are the Suns any chance in this one? Because I feel like I've been talking up Freo a bit. It is a free hit for the Suns in their first final.
It is.
Can they get it done, Marcus?
Or is it? The thing is it a free hit?
I think it is
a free hit.
Because they blew a top 4 opportunity.
Yeah, it's fine, mate. I tell you want to build something. I think it is a free hit because they're going to be back next year and then the next year and then the next year.
This
team is stacked with kids, mate. They have a lot of time. And how many times we see a team reach the summit just that little bit too early and then have to come back and go back. I'm not saying it always happens. You want to win them when you get there. Are they really going to win a grand final on the MCG against Geelong or Brisbane?
No.
No, they're not. So get in if they win a final, great. If they don't, they don't. They'll be back next year.
Yeah, well, look, I think they've got more than a great chance and more than the odds suggest, because I just really like the tactical and coaching matchup between Dimmer and Longmuir, and I think Dimmer wins that.
Yeah.
I agree. I do agree, but I'm telling you in horse terms,
Which is
if you had have swapped Glenn Boss out for an apprentice on Maccabi Diva probably still would have won.
yeah, true. But look, I just think that
I know what you're saying.
ultimately that coaching battle is going to
No
win the
disrespect to
game.
Glenn Boss or to Longmuir, but I know there is a gap. But at home, there's so much. And Longmuir he's no scrub. He's
Yeah, he can definitely coach, but I just think that's probably why I think Gold Coast can win this one, and that's why I'm tipping them by 10 points is because of Dimmer.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think Freo get this done. I'm going to say about 3 goals. 3 goals. I'll jump them.
all right. Very good. There you go. I'm with you on Freo. I think Freo. I think that they're getting a 10.5 point start on the line. I think they'll cover that comfortably and be winning by 3 or 4 goals. Okay. Let's go. Lock of the week, big calls. Gary Ayres Medalist we want to go through. Leo, what is your lock of the week?
I'm going Sarong 20 plus. I just think he's an absolute lock to do that. At home, against that Suns midfielder, does not tag. Sarong all over it.
Oof, yeah, I like the look of another ball magnet. Lockie Whitfield, 20 plus. That bloke was just born with a foot in his hands when he came outside the womb. So, for Mary Ann Whitfield.
Is that is that her name?
That is her name. I actually Googled his mother's name just to get that.
They thought they were having twins, but it was just him holding a footy.
It was.
There you go. My lock, as I said, just for reference game, was the opening round, that Collingwood Adelaide game to be low scoring and going under 160 points. Big call.
I'm going Jamie Elliott kicks 4 goals. I know they get McElhaney back, Worrell and Keane in great form, but I just think they might be a bit spooked, that Adelaide backline in their first final for a lot of those guys. So Jamie Elliott brings experience, and I think Pies are going to win. He's going to be a main part of that.
You know what? You're going an Adelaide Collingwood one, so I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to go GWS Hawthorn here, and I'm going to go Tom Green will have minimum 14 clearances.
Is that a big call? Because it is a big call, but
14 plus.
I love that against that Hawks midfield. Yeah, don't mind that at all.
There you go. All right. Now, Gary Ayres Medalist, guys. Give me a Gary Ayres Medalist.
I'm going McCluggage. I just think, look, Wally, you mentioned it when we were talking about whether he gets tagged. He finds ways to be productive still. Yep. He's got a great engine. He finds the football, can hit the scoreboard. I think he's got a few 30 disposal, 1 goal games
like that?
ahead of him. So.
Oh, and obviously, if you're playing along at home, you don't know what the Gary Ayres Medal is. It's awarded to the best finals player.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be Tom Green.
I think if you're watching this show, I reckon you know what the game is.
and I reckon it's going to be Tom Green. He just wins.
Great shout. I like both of them a lot. Yeah. I'm tempted to have a play. Locking Neal is the one I like. A game with Brisbane.
Brisbane are you afraid of his lack of footy heading into the finals?
It's completely irrelevant. I genuinely think that won't matter at all. Could have played guys. He'd just be ready to go. Yep. The other thing is that with this new interest in worrying about Hugh McCluggage, I think it opens him up and probably is still their best. I will say this, though. Brisbane and Geelong is a great place, to play in this, because if they win, they're going to be hosting a home prelim.
Yeah.
If they lose, every chance coming the other way around. So that's all go there. All right. Gentlemen, sorry. Frog in the throat there to finish. All right. That's us done. You've got this round's preview. You've got your tips for the Gary Ayres Medal. We've got big calls. Surely Liam is back next week.
He's back on Sunday.
Okay, he is back.
He's back on Sunday.
There you go. I
just wanted to get away from us.
I don't want to come in on Sunday and review a Hawthorn loss to the Giants by 60 points. But thanks for joining us. As always, make sure you're subscribing to us on YouTube. And as I said, follow on all the social channels with AFL Today. Check out our other shows. I spoke about Footy Form Guide. I'm on that one. There's True Bloods that's finishing up now. We've got AFLW today, and then we've got our racing shows coming into spring. So out the gates for RaceNet, and of course the Punters Show hold all tickets. So there's plenty of sport and racing to be had. And thanks again to Stockhead. And of course, our producer Gerald does a great job week in, week out. Marcus, Leo, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Wally.
That'll do me. And I don't know, maybe I'll see you in the summer or something for some cricket. Who knows?
Good luck, fellas.
Thanks for watching.